me give it a little bit. Getting older now. She says, you know what you did and what you need to do not to do. But Lisa, and I said, Lisa's looking at me, her eyes big as hell. She goes, I know it's right. She said that. I said, yeah. I'd say it in front of you on top of that. So she can have control over what I do for you.
Years ago, I went to the doctor here, and I was having problems with my arm with numb on me. And it's kind of swollen. I was serious. I'm like, it's like, well, is this going to continue to get worse? He said, all right, if everything gets worse.
Did you have to do this to anything?
He said I wouldn't even that's I can go incision anything like it.
Well,
He said, don't worry about it.
that's what they told me. Cartilage. Treatment all the same.
Good evening and welcome. We're glad to have you all join us for our March meeting, and welcome to March. It was very springy until about 48 hours ago, and then it felt like winter decided to come back once again, but it is March and things are moving forward. We will march forth. So we'll ask Gary Harris to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to get us started.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. And we'll ask that you all join us in a moment of silent reflection where you can prepare for the meeting, you can think about anything you want to share with us, or you can engage in silent prayer. Thank you all very much. Thank you all very much. Council members, you all have minutes from January 8th and February 26th from our regular meetings. I did note one change that needed to be made in the recognition for the yearbook under the January 8th meeting, and it's just a typo that's on there. But other than that, are there any additional corrections?
Didn't see any there.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve as amended for January 8th? We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? February 26th, were there any changes or corrections? Is there a motion to accept as presented?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Sorry, I jumped the gun. At this time, we are going to open up the floor for citizen comments. If you are here to comment on anything regarding business that we'll be considering today, you have 3 minutes or less to share your comments. Please come down to the podium, state your name for the record, and be sure to use the microphone so everyone can hear you, not only in here, but also we're streaming the meeting. So we will go on and start that. And I think we are going to use our clock. Is it ready to roll? Okay, we are going to use our new clock so you can see how much time you have left as well. So we will open the floor for citizen comments for the public.
Hello, Council.
Hi.
My name is Wilson Rankin. I live at 2308 8th Street. I came to the Planning Commission meeting. It's about the development across the Forest Avenue from where we live. And I read these words, and I still think they're well written, so I'm going to share them again. It's from the 2017 Comprehensive Plan for the City of Radford. Quote, encourage a new housing development
of existing neighborhoods that is sensitive to existing architectural styles and development patterns. Also, new residential development should be compatible in design with existing neighborhoods and community's character. So I found out that the comprehensive plan is more of an aspirational document. It certainly doesn't stand a chance against zoning laws and whatnot, but I still think it's something to aspire to. I would ask that each of you drive that 800 block of Forest Avenue and take a look at that field. What I'm worried about is the 4 houses on Forest, the 4 driveways that'll be in that 270-foot section. So I think that's a little tight, a little crowded. There's also safety concerns that other folks will bring up, but I would like the city to make an effort to, I know how hard pressed we are for building sites, but I think it's important to blend the old and the new, because we're going to be faced with this many times as we find pieces of land that can hold houses, especially if they're going to be tighter than what's around them. So that's about all I've got to say.
Got 1 more minute?
I know. Maybe add it to one of my buddies back here.
Well, it doesn't work that way, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Barry Nichols. Me and my wife, Marie, we've lived at 806 Forest Avenue since 1989, and we've been a lifelong resident of Radford. My wife has. And so I've seen a lot of growth in Radford, particularly in the area that we live in. It's been a very nice, quiet neighborhood. We also realize and know that as time goes on, land will be developed. We all know that. We were surprised, I guess, when we saw the plans and looking at those homes that are planned to be built in that field across the road from our place, and particularly the 4 houses right on Forest Avenue. Me as a homeowner, I see that the traffic through there, the speed limit is 25 miles an hour. And most people exceed that limit. And looking at the driveways, I'm assuming of these 4 houses, when people back out into Forest Avenue, particularly to go toward Rock Road, you come up over that hill there, and it's really tight. And I foresee that will create possible accidents and people getting injured. And also, I'm sure there's probably people here that live in the Forest Park area. That's where most of this 14 houses, 10 on Forest Avenue, and I think right now 4 on Forest Avenue and 10 that will discharge into Chesley Avenue down into the Forest Park area. And so that, to me, again, from a safety standpoint, that's a very nice neighborhood down there also. You drive through there, you see basketball goals, you see kids out riding bicycles, people walking dogs and stuff like that. And so if you just think about the additional vehicles now that will come through there, and if you figure, let's say a couple cars per household, that's 20 plus more vehicles going through that Forest Park area. And so from a safety standpoint, I think that's something that needs to be looked at and considered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Council. My name's Shane Kennedy. I live down at the bottom of that field at 807 Chesley Street. Chesley Street, if you've not been out there, the 800 and 900 blocks of Chesley Street represent a street that has cul-de-sacs at both ends. The only entrance and egress is through 9th Street. And while that might sound inconvenient, it's actually quite nice to have this nice flat area with cul-de-sacs at both ends. We're at the heart of a walking trail for many families in the area. People I see biking through there all the time. I wanted to echo what he said about the basketball goals. It's one of the greatest places to trick or treat in the whole city. People come from all over down to Forest Park to walk through there. So to have these cars discharging into Chesley Street is going to represent a tremendous increase in the amount of traffic that comes through there. I don't know if you've studied the amount of traffic along Forest or along 7th, the other areas where maybe a road could come in here, but the amount of increase, the percentage of increase on traffic, there's only like 7 houses down there. You're kind of going to see the cultural vibe of that neighborhood, the outdoor recreation of the citizens really take a hit from this. And I don't like it. I've lived there for about 20 years. I've been in Radford for 30. My family is buried up on the hill. We've been around Radford for a long time, and I just wanted to echo what I'm hearing from my other neighbors. This is not something we want. Not something I want. That's all I had to say.
Thank you.
I might start crying, so if I do, please overlook. I'm the reason, the Malk family, that this whole thing has occurred. I live at 807 Forest Avenue. We sold in 2020 to Caleb Chafin, who was supposed to develop it like similar homes in the neighborhood. And he promised us he would do that. We were never told of him having problems. We wished he would have come back to us and offered the land back so we could have bought it. That didn't happen. So I apologize to everyone because it's really our fault. But the biggest thing is the traffic. It's horrendous. From Rock Road to West Main, or West Main to Rock Road, it's heavily traveled. And there's so many kids with bicycles and dogs. And I just don't want to see anyone get hit or injured. I've lived there since I was 5 years old in this house. If my mother was here, she did not want us to sell until we sold the whole thing. But we have problems with the field being mowed. We had letters sent to us time and time again that it had to be mowed. So my brothers and I got together and decided to sell the land. And I'm sorry we did that. But please do not develop with patio homes. Please vote no. It's just not the area for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? I'm Carson Morgan. My mother lives at 900 Chesley. The concerns we have are she's going to be impacted by the project more than anyone there because she's right at the cul-de-sac. And so what we were proposing is for them to put us a privacy fence up and some kind of covering over that privacy fence on the property line where it will stop the dust from traveling over into the property. I understand that the homes are going to be built. And so that's one of the things. And then, all that dust, we'd like for the house to be power washed, say every 8 months or something, because, it may be 3 years before that project's completed. And, all that dust is going to come off of there and, the water drainage and so forth. Let's see. one of my concerns that my mother had was would a fire truck be able to get up in there? How about a school bus? I mean, these kids are gonna have to walk down to the corner to catch a bus. I mean, you can't turn a bus around in that cul-de-sac I'm in right now, you know. So that's one of the concerns. Let's see. But really, that's our biggest concern is the impact it's going to have on her house and all the dust. And those houses, 3 of them are going to back up to her property. If they could put a privacy fence up, put some tie vac on it, that would keep dust from impacting her house and make it a little more tolerable. So, anyway, that's about all I can think of right now is the impact it's going to have on her, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments from citizens for the public record? Hearing none, we will move forward. Council members, are there any responses you all would like to share?
Yes, I do appreciate everybody coming up, and thank you so much for doing that. And that means a lot to us when people come forward. So appreciate everybody having the courage to do that. So thank you very much, and we'll think through everything that everything you've mentioned. We've taken our notes and all, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've taken some notes too, and so just so everyone knows, I will drive back through there. So if you see my car going slow, it's just me. It sounds like you have a tight-knit neighborhood, so you'll probably notice. But I may even be out walking it, so you'll see me out there. We certainly take all of this very seriously. And you do have a great neighborhood, and we certainly don't want to compromise it. So we'll take a look at that. And in regards to emergency vehicles and things of that nature, those are things that would be laid out and would have to be examined. So that's always a part of the process. We'd have to be able to make sure that that could happen in case of emergency. So that's all I have.
I'll just echo what's been said. Thank you for bringing these concerns to us, and obviously a very valid concern. This is your guys' homes and your neighborhood, and so I appreciate you guys coming up to us. I spoke to or was able to listen to some of you guys in Planning Commission, and I just appreciate you bringing it to our attention, and we all will take a look at this and follow up. So thank you.
And I'll just wrap it up by saying, thank you all for coming out. That's what these meetings are for, Planning Commission meetings are for, is to have a dialogue to help inform Planning Commission members, City Council members, city staff as we move through this entire process. I know the change can be challenging, and we have to consider everything as we move forward. So thank you all very much. At this time, we do have a couple of proclamations we want to consider. The month of March is nationally recognized as Women's History Month. We all have so many women in our lives that have impacted us in a positive way on a state, local, and national scale. There's so many women who have made such a difference for this nation, for this community, for this Commonwealth. And we have a proclamation this evening that recognizes the importance of this designation to the economy, culture and social progress, leadership, workforce, the military, as well as equal opportunity. Ms. Foster?
Yes. Women's History Month. Women who advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusion. Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways, and whereas American women have played and continue to play critical economic, cultural, and social role in every sphere of the life of constituting a significant portion of the labor force working inside and outside of the home. And whereas American women have played a unique role throughout the history of the United States by providing the majority of the volunteer labor force. And whereas American women were particularly important in the establishment of early charitable, philanthropic, and cultural institutions throughout the country. And whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement. And whereas American women have served our country courageously in the military, and whereas American women have been leaders not only in securing their own rights of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the so I'm in between readers, y'all, I'm sorry. I can't decide readers or no readers, I'm of that age. The emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, and the civil rights movement, and other movements, especially the peace movement, which create a fair and just society for all. Whereas despite these contributions, the role of American women in history has been consistently overlooked and undervalued in the literature, teaching, and study of American history. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Radford City Council that March is designated as Women's History Month, and the council calls upon the people of Radford to observe March as Women's History Month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. Council, I make a motion that we approve this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. And happy Women's History Month to Kelly and to Jesse both. Thank you all for your leadership on this council, for this community, to all the women who serve in the city of Radford, whether you be staff or members of boards and other organizations. We thank all of you for your service and beyond, the Commonwealth, the country, and so forth. It really is important that we take that time to do that. So thank you. This is also coming up on Emergency Management Professionals Week. That's March 18th through the 21st. And it's an event proclaimed by the General Assembly and the Virginia Department of Emergency Management to recognize, honor, and show appreciation for the dedication of those that work in the profession of emergency management. And we have a proclamation.
Emergency Management Professionals Week. Whereas the emergency managers of the City of Radford and of the Commonwealth of Virginia work tirelessly behind the scenes to build safer, stronger, and more resilient communities in the face of natural disasters, terrorism, pandemics, civil unrest, and other threats and hazards. And whereas emergency managers are the vital link to and between essential services that help communities prepare for, respond to, and recover from emergencies. And whereas emergency managers provide the leadership, management, and operational skills necessary to enable their communities, organizations, and agencies to develop emergency plans and procedures, ensure personnel is adequately trained and exercise plans, provide emergency warnings, notifications, and alerts, and acquire resources to protect lives and property and enhance resiliency to emergency events. And whereas the role of emergency managers is ensuring a safer, healthier, and more resilient community is more important than ever. Now therefore be it resolved by the Radford City Council, do hereby proclaim March 18th through the 21st, 2024 as Emergency Management Professionals Week in the City of Radford, and urge all citizens to honor the employees of the City of Radford's emergency management and to recognize their service and commitment to the lives, health, and safety of all who live, visit, and do business in the City of Radford and the region. Council, I'd like to make a motion that we accept this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. And we thank all of our emergency management professionals. You know, we got through a real tight spot this weekend with heavy rain and wind and everything along that line. We made it pretty well, but we are so thankful for all of our emergency management people to be on call, taking care of us anytime we need them. Moving forward, we do have a public hearing this evening. So for years, we have been working on the former foundry site in Radford. It was owned by Virginia Castings Incorporated for many years, and the city was able to purchase it over the last couple of years. It is an 80-acre site, and we want to take a portion of it, subdivide it, and be able to turn it into the West Radford Commerce Park. We feel it's important for the development of not only West Radford, but the entire community, and really for the New River Valley and Southwest Virginia. So as a part of that, we want to transfer this property to our Economic Development Authority. And to be able to do that, we have to hold a public hearing. And so at this time, I will open the floor for any comments, questions, or concerns at the public hearing. Just come down to the microphone, state your name for the record, and please address your comments regarding the West Radford Commerce Park, the former Foundry site on West Main Street. Seeing no mad rush, I will go on and close the public hearing portion. I do want to stress that we're moving through this process. This is a complicated process, and we're not going to be able to take action on this evening with the public hearing, but this was an important piece in case anybody had any questions, comments, or concerns. We will be taking action hopefully on March 25th as we complete a boundary survey to be able to better delineate the subdivision that will be transferred to the EDA. A portion will remain with the city. There is some brownfield concerns. We're working with the Department of Environmental Quality and other agencies in Virginia to help address some of that. There will also hopefully one day be some recreation that will be available, particularly along the riverside area of this property. It really is going to be a transformative property for West Radford, so we're excited about this. At this time, we need to ask that the Planning Commission open its meeting, and then we will have a joint public hearing for a property. So, okay. Planning Commission is here. We have a quorum, and I'm actually going to turn the floor over to Melissa to talk about 402 West Rock Road.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Please bear with me this evening as the weather is upon us and allergies and all that fun stuff. So, Planning Commission, I apologize. Planning Commission received an application from Jones Builders, LLC, to rezone a piece of property at 402 West Rock Road from currently zoned at B1, limited business, to R3, which is single-family residential. You'll see on the map that's on the screens, highlighted in red, is the current zoning. It's on the corner of Rock Road and Fletcher Street. You'll notice the surrounding properties are R3, which is what they're proposing to, and across the street is more industrial. Historically, this property most recently has been a used car dealership and has been pretty vacant for a number of years. It has not been an active used car dealership. So at this point, the developer has come in to request a redevelopment of the current building into a duplex. And also, he's going to develop, there's a lot next to it that he's going to develop into another single-family home. I have provided the standards for both R3 and single-family as well as the duplexes. Minimum lot size for single-family, 6,000. R3 is, for the duplex is 8,000, of course, with the appropriate frontages for each of those. This property is right under half an acre, which would more than accommodate both redevelopments. The existing condition, as I stated prior, we have the existing building that is vacant at this point in time, which he will redevelop into the duplex. In the proposed master plan, I apologize, they do propose having a drive off the front off of Rock Road as well as one off of Fletcher for the duplex, and then for the single-family home is off of Rock Road. The single-family home, there's a two process, so we have two public hearings. We've got the rezoning, so they can go ahead and do the actual single-family development. What's unique about this property, about 90% of it is B1 and about 10% of it is already R3. So part of the parcels, it was mixed. This is long before all of us. So they're just really kind of putting it all together, and they do feel like it does meet all of the surrounding residential housing around there. I believe that's all I've got. I do have the developers are here this evening, but they really do plan on making it into a nice little corner, improved corner.
I do have thank you very much, Melissa. I do have a couple of questions with the layout of the property as it is now laid out. It's 5-ish lots, 4.5 lots, that will be turned into 2 lots, but there will also be sort of a buffer area around those lots. I'm not sure how that will work, and that may be more of a comment for the developer. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, or if the whole lot will just be considered the property.
I'm not following you.
I'm just looking on the map where there's sort of a subdivided area that's closer in.
I think that is what's currently zoned R3.
Okay.
And the rest is currently zoned B1.
Okay.
I really think that's the buffer. All of it will be zoned R3 once, if it gets
And so
approved.
there's not a plan to have a smaller sublot within the bigger lot and then, okay. I just wanted to confirm on that.
We'll have 2 lots, and
yeah.
I apologize. Once the rezoning, if it were to be rezoned, the reason we have 2 public hearings, duplexes in R3, are not by right, so they would, if it gets rezoned to R3, then the request for the special use permit is for the duplex itself. The home itself is a by right and is able to be developed as proposed if it is actually rezoned.
Okay. And I don't want to belabor this anymore, but council, do you all have any other questions for Melissa?
Not for this one.
Can I just add, I did receive an email from a neighbor just asking some questions of their, whether it's going to be rental, time frame of the construction, but did not state any opposition. And that was from Ms. Doris Duncan. Okay. Just wanted that for the record.
Do you want to, I'd be curious to what those answers are. Could you share that?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Planning Commission. Steve Simonis with sorry, Ms. Foster, I'm like you, I'm in between. So thank you for the opportunity. So Steve Simonis with Balzer and Associates, 80 College Street in Christiansburg. We're working with Mr. Jones here, Jones Builder. So to answer the questions, yeah, we were chatting about that this evening when Melissa let us know that there was a neighbor that had some questions. So the plan is right now these would be for sale. We thought when Mr. Jones came to us with this, we thought this was a really neat idea. Obviously, the building's been sitting there vacant. He's interested in changing it to a duplex, kind of an adaptive reuse on that existing building and not tearing it down. There is some historical kind of fun look to that, you know, the old store and then into the motor, the S&S Motors is what it was. And then the new home, he's done several residential builds. We've worked with Mr. Jones out of our Salem office as well. So an exciting area to get an additional house, or I guess 3 new residential units in there. So yes, the answer to the first question is yes, they would be intended to be for sale. And the second one, Melissa? Time frame. We'd be working on these right now if we were already approved. So the idea is we'll move as fast as the city gives us the approvals on the site plan or on the rezoning and the special use permit, and then we'd move into what plot plans and building permit plans we'd have to do for both of the projects. So we're happy to answer any other questions.
I don't, thank you.
I'm really excited about this. Before we get into the public hearing portion, this is a real win for that neighborhood, especially from my perspective, because this was a very challenged area when it had been the former auto dealership, and there were a lot of neighborhood concerns that we heard about, and spent a lot of time working to help get the property in better shape, and now to get it redeveloped into something else is really a wonderful opportunity. So having said that, I think we got a lot of information out there. We will open the joint public hearing for the rezoning of West Rock Road first. So at this time, if you have comments, concerns, or questions about the rezoning of 402 West Rock Road, please come down, state your name, and use the microphone to share your thoughts. Seeing none, we will close that public hearing, and we will open the second public hearing for the special use permit for 402 West Rock Road, which would allow for the duplex. So we will open the floor for that. Please come down to the podium, use the microphone, state your name for the record. Seeing no one coming forward, we will close both public hearings. And at this time, I'll let you adjourn your meeting if you'd like to. I mean, do you have any comments? I know you aren't going to provide us anything until after you meet next time. Yeah, okay. All right, thank you all very much. A little bit about that business. This is how we work through things with Planning Commission and with City Council to try to get things moving forward. We will get some information at our next meeting regarding this after Planning Commission has a chance to meet and work together, and then they will come back to City Council with a recommendation. Okay. Under new business, we do have the Teton Crest development. That is some of what has been discussed earlier this evening. David, I'm going to ask you if you will kind of give us the brief overview based on what we have here, and then let's talk through some things. And we obviously have some folks who have shared their thoughts with us this evening. So we'll
defer to Melissa.
Okay. You okay? All right. All right, Melissa, the floor is yours again. You can whisper.
I'm not sure how much of a choice I have in that one. So as a brief overview, this location is, this proposed development is located tax map 19-1-32A. It consists of 4.3 acres. The property owner's Golden Triangle. It's currently undeveloped. The current zoning is R2 single-family residential, and the proposed use is 14 single-family homes. Looking at the density and standards for R2, our maximum density is 5.8 units per acre. The minimum lot size is 7,500 square feet. Setbacks, lot coverage. Our comprehensive plan does spell out what low-density residential land use is. And as it states, it's, the residential uses reflect existing residential development patterns and primarily consist of the established neighborhoods within the community. This land use category reflects single-family residential in R1 and R2 zoning districts with lot ranges from 7,500 to 10,000 square feet. The proposed lot ranges for this development go from 7,500 to 15,300 square feet. And you're looking at the maximum units per acre, and it's right about 3.5 units per acre, which is lower than the maximum density allowed within our zoning ordinance. So that's consistent by code with low-density development. Here in red is the proposed, is the location of the proposed development, which is zoned R2. You will see just west of R2 is R3 development, so it's almost split. So R3 is typically a buffer between the lower density to mid-density to high-density developments. So right here, we're looking at the zoning for the Teton Crest proposal. As it's been shared, they are proposing 10 homes off of Chesley Street and 4 off of Forest Avenue. I know we've heard a number of concerns over this, and especially of the coming off of Chesley Street and the congestion. I had a council member, Bart, made a good point at our Planning Commission meeting that if they did unload it onto Forest, that would just continue adding more housing or more traffic onto Forest. That may not be the result of just the 10 homes. So actually the cul-de-sac in this, in our opinion, is a better choice at coming off of Chesley versus unloading and potentially everyone else within Forest Park onto Forest Avenue. So this is a little bit of a controlled traffic opportunity. Went to Google Earth and did look at some line of sight. So this is looking up towards Rock Road, if you're going from West Main to Rock Road, and the property, I apologize. Oops. I'm so sorry. We learned, you don't want to see any of it. I don't know where the button is. This is the proposed property that they're requesting. So you can see this, not much of an issue of line of sight going that direction, but certainly coming from Rock Road towards West Main Street, you do have that hill that you can tend into before you get to 7th. I did speak with our engineering office. There's nothing in the proposal that would prohibit or allow for this, for not allowing driveways to be on Forest Avenue. There are, and honestly, I don't want to pick out anyone, but typically, new standards, they don't allow driveways right across from an intersection on a street, so we would always make adjustments. We really try to make sure that there's sight distances between major intersections of road, as well as in between housing and driveways. So there are separations between the two. I did get with our chief of police because I knew one of the big concerns was safety and looking at car speeding and concern for accidents. And I know that he's pulled some data. I don't know if he's open to sharing, but he did share with me that there has been one accident since 2019. And how many speeding tickets? Just one speeding ticket. They are certainly going to keep an eye out to ensure that that's not a continued issue. Certainly we'll continue, regardless of the development, we will look at safety always. So we will continue to monitor that and try to find ways to improve slowing down that traffic if we continue to see issues. And that's all I have, sir.
Before Melissa sits down, and thank you so much for powering through everything to work with us, does anybody have any questions for her regarding this?
So I keep hearing the term by right. So can we just publicly say what that is and what that means and exactly what we are supposed to be voting on right now?
A by right use is when you have your zoning ordinance, each district is set up residential, business, industrial. A by right gives you, it lays out R2, you have these requirements and you meet those requirements. So if you meet those requirements, then it's considered by right. We had an example tonight of a rezoning and special use. Those aren't by rights. So the B1 district doesn't allow for any residential, so it's not a by right use. So they had to request to be able to rezone it to a use that allows it to be a by right use.
So by this property being by right, it makes it very difficult for us, as long as they're following the guidelines that the city has set in their zoning and whatever the parameters are, if they're following those, it makes it difficult for us to essentially say no because they're following the rules. That's what I've heard from a lot of people that I've talked to over the past week. I just want to make sure that it's public knowledge that, they're doing everything that they're supposed to. Maybe the city may need to update some of their verbiage in there.
And for his history, I did go back to look at the two previous zoning ordinances because they're looking at the lot sizes. Back to 1975, the R2 requirements have remained the same, 7,500 square foot minimum lots. So those haven't changed. It's just whoever chose to develop the standards prior to then just chose to do it a larger lot size.
Yeah. But just to clarify, the builders are within all of the parameters that have been set by the city.
Correct.
Okay.
And of course, one thing we do always look at, the impact of traffic, additional traffic onto the roads. And this certainly, just the 14 homes just does not trigger us warranting a traffic impact that meets those VDOT guidelines.
Well, this is my area. I live off of Forest. I drive this road every single day in the dark. And coming up over that hill, putting 4 driveways right there is a concern.
Sure.
It may not be a VDOT concern or, other people's concern, but
Absolutely.
I drive it and it will be, it's going to be at least 8 people, 8 cars possibly backing up onto that road. So it is a concern. And while they're following all the parameters set by the zoning in the city, sometimes you have to look at what's best for the community and the people that are there, and maybe cut back a little bit on not doing the maximum of what you can do and doing what may be fitting better for the community and the citizens. I actually looked up the definition of by right earlier today, and it's what is legal and morally correct. So we need to maybe make sure that people are considering the moral part of it, and not just wanting to build to the maximum amount that they can. And I know that they're not. I know that they still have room to wiggle, but at the same time, we need to be considerate of each other in the space that we're inhabiting, for sure. So, and thank you guys for coming out and speaking. You did it the right way. You brought your informative concerns respectfully to council and to Planning Commission, and I really appreciate that. I spoke to several of you, and we don't know, so I appreciate you coming out and saying that. Ms. Chafin, please don't hold this on your shoulders. I know that, I'm sorry. Ms. Mock, I'm sorry. Sorry, don't hold this on your shoulders. You came up here, and it sounds like you weighed your decision very heavily and did what you felt like was right. So I don't think that you should think this is your fault. I know. And we all love that area. It's a very nice area, but I thank you for coming out and sharing your emotions and honesty, but I don't think that it's all you, so thank you.
I'll just echo. I don't think I could even really expand too much on that. I think Kelly did a very good job, and I'll echo what she has said. You know, it is, even when you're in the guidelines and the parameters of things, you are looking big picture and making sure that we're taking into consideration the people and their community. And I do think that that's something we all take serious and should take serious. As far as the city's impact, or we could look at increased signage, what are some things that maybe we could do coming over that hill, or if there are more driveways, is there things that the city could do as far as markings or signage to really make sure that
We're going to put some lines on the road on Forest. That's coming.
Headed to Forest, those have faded away that were there, and signage is certainly an option. We can take a look at all of that.
Yeah.
Lighting, mirrors, things like that might mitigate some of the traffic issues.
Worth.
Seth, you're our representative on Planning Commission. We're lucky to have our Planning Commission members here. Is there anything you want to share based on that meeting that the rest of us, should know, or anything else we should hear?
I don't think there's anything to expand on. I think Melissa pretty much explained everything, and as far as our meeting went, and we heard from several of the same people in the comments, and appreciated them appreciated them then, and appreciate you guys now as well for coming and sharing those. And I think Melissa did a good job of kind of expanding upon that. So thanks, Melissa.
Okay. I was just going to turn to the rest of Planning Commission. Do you all have anything else you all want to add, just as folks who have reviewed this and taken a look at it? I know you've made your recommendation to council, but just want to give you the chance to talk. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the emergency vehicles and the parameters of the roads. As also having a mother that has needed emergency services, I know how important it is that you have appropriate roadways for that. How are we looking in regards to the size of the roads and, you know, maybe going out that cul-de-sac or not? Is there room for maneuvering?
Of course, through the site plan review process, each department will look at that. Engineering, that's one of the top things that we have to look at, is access.
And if they couldn't, what would happen?
It wouldn't get approved.
Okay. I just want to make that point.
Yes, they need to be able to have access.
Looks like from the plat we've been given as a preliminary design, the new cul-de-sac would be considerably larger than the cul-de-sac that's currently at Chesley.
Correct.
Okay. Council, any other comments, questions? Okay, we have two pieces of business we need to consider this evening. First, we need to consider approving the subdivision plat, which has been presented here. Certainly, we've talked through it a little bit, and again, we want to thank all of you all for coming out to help inform us on this. Council, any further thoughts before we consider a motion on the subdivision plat?
I mean, do we need to step back for a second? I mean, I know Jessie said she hasn't looked at the area. She wanted to go out and, you know, ride it. walk it? Do we feel like we have sufficient information? I mean, it sounds like we don't really have we have a choice, but the impact of saying no, I mean, there might be some legal things, because they're not doing anything wrong.
I'll ask this question of both David and Melissa. Is there any issue if we were to decide to table this until our next meeting to be able to gather some more information? Would that cause significant issues with the developer or with the process?
I mean, maybe they need to be aware of the people that came and listened to their comments. Maybe they need time to do that, to make sure that this is their final plan. Okay.
Okay.
And
So-
I am, obviously I'm familiar with the area, Radford's 9 miles, but I would like to be able to go back with these specific concerns and look at it if that is all right with all of council. If anyone wants
I
to
would
ride out
prefer
with
that.
me, I would love for you to come with me.
Okay. Do we have a motion to table?
Yes.
So we have a motion to table the subdivision plat and the HOA until our next meeting on March 25th. Is there a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Now, again, to the folks coming out, we want to investigate everything that you've shared with us. Certainly, we all took notes, I know, and we'll all take this into consideration as we move forward, and we'll bring this back up again in a couple of weeks, and we will go from
Would
there.
the builder, would they be available when I walked out there, if we had additional questions that we could reach out? Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we have one more piece of business this evening. It is Appropriation Ordinance 1787.25 in the amount of $11,458 for vehicle upgrades for the Sheriff's Department, blue lights and radios for the vehicles. David, do you have anything else you can share on that?
No, this is just the vehicles that they bought in the current budget year. They just need to put some extra equipment on them. Courtroom security funds for that.
Council, do you all have any questions regarding this?
No, but I don't have a question, but I do want to make sure that to David's point, that these funds it says that none of this was funded through fines assessed by the General District Court. So that is where we are getting that funded, that the vehicles are completely paid for, that this will not come out of the general fund, correct? Correct. All right, I just want to make that clarification.
Clear.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's out of the general fund, but it's out of the restricted account.
Right. It's an account that's set aside for this type of activity and not something we could use for something else.
Yes.
Okay, do we have a motion regarding Appropriation Ordinance 1787.25?
So moved.
We have a motion to approve 1787.25 in the amount of $11,458. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? A sneeze is an affirmative action too, I guess, so there you go. So we have four affirmative votes, and as such, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Do we have a motion to do so? We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you all very much. This has been a lot of good information, a lot we'll consider. David, what do you have for us this evening?
Just a couple of things. We've had a few trying weather events. Seems like wind is now our common thing. We have not had much snow this year, oddly enough, just a dusting here and there, but wind has been a concern. Appreciate all the departments being ready and available should we have any problems, only minor things. Certainly the work to clear right-of-ways and to make sure our streets that we've cut back and things look good from that perspective, and ridding ourselves of dead wood and things like that has helped a whole lot in preventing some of the problems that unfortunately our neighbors around us weren't so lucky over the past few storms. So just mention that and thank them. Also, from the recreational tourism perspective, we've had 3 really nice events this winter that generated a little over 100 teams throughout all 3 events. That brought their families and the coaches and the teams to Radford and at the Recreation Department for basketball tournaments. So we appreciate all the work that's gone in, Rec Department, public safety folks, in making these events safe. And then also those folks stay in our community, spend money in our community. So we love that and appreciate that. We are going after VHSL again this year. Application is in for that. We anticipate decision will be made later in the fall. For those that are familiar with it, we have been a VHSL community for at least 3 different terms, about 12 years. And it moved to Salem a few years ago, so that's been opened back up, so we're pursuing that. Budget process is occupying most of our time now. We are looking at a number of different things associated with that, a good number of meetings coming forward. Our budget schedule is on the website. We will try to keep that updated as we've gone along. Looking at, how the past few years has impacted us, what things can be trimmed back, looking at revenue sources, trying to make those as reasonable as possible, but still meeting the needs that we have going forward and making us and all the programs we have sustainable. So that will be advancing over the next few days. So we're going to be moving kind of quickly in that process. Nothing to report as far as rates and things like that, but we did ask for cuts from a number of departments, and those have been adhered to. Increases are generally related to cost of living, just increases in general that have gone on for different types of materials and products and things like that. Current budget, still on target with that. We're watching every penny, watching cash flow. That's been the major thing. Look at that every Tuesday and Wednesday as we go through. So
is there anything you're aware of that is unpaid that needs to be paid, or anything that's outstanding that we're not monitoring?
The current week's AP that we're dealing with, and we're catching up on an AEP bill. But
Okay.
everything else is good.
Okay. Council members, any other questions for David? All right. Thank you. I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Seth, what do you have
A
for?
little behind, but catching up.
You're doing fine. Seth, what do you have for us this evening?
I'll just reiterate, thank you to everyone that came out tonight and spoke your concerns. I appreciate you making the effort to do that, I really do. I'll also echo David's comments that thank you to the rec department. They put on some phenomenal tournaments that have brought in a lot of new people to the city. So well done by Greg and staff. They do a great job up there. Also was very excited to hear, it was actually Jesse and I had met with the president. We all went in our various groups to meet with them, and when we had mentioned bringing back VHSL, that they were already looking into it, I was very happy to hear that. I think the economic impact could be significant, was for a long time, and I think it could be mutually beneficial to RU from a recruitment standpoint, getting people on campus. So truly be a big win if we were able to get that back. Some really good memories for me personally through the spring VHSL. Played in it, worked in it, so would love to see that come back. Last thing I really have is just wanted to share that Thompson Tire called and wanted me to make sure that I thanked David and the city for putting in the crosswalk. They had reached out and asked that I would share that concern with kids walking, going to Sonic after school, and they said that the city was very prompt and they really appreciated that. So I just wanted to share that thank you. So, and that's all I have.
I will add one other thing, was what you said reminded me from the last council meeting. With spring just around the corner, we're doing the spruce up of all of our fields and everything. Just a reminder, if anybody wants to advertise, contact the Chamber of Commerce, because we do not want to forget that. That was something they mentioned last time. Great advertising opportunities. Get in there early so you can cover all the spring programs.
Right. Yep, perfect. Thanks, David.
Bobby, what do you have?
Yes, I'd like to thank Melissa for her presentation, and that was very informative. And once again, I want to thank everybody for coming up. I really appreciate that. And so actually, if you think about it, everybody coming up, it's already made a difference. So, and I likewise will be driving out there too. So you see a little gray sports car, don't think nothing of it. And I appreciate all the comments, and thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Jesse, what do you have for us?
Yes, my moment of silence was dedicated to Elliot Howe. He was killed in action during World War I, and he was a Radford resident. Just a little update on some of the boards and commissions. The amphitheater conversation with RU is still moving forward. We have 4 upcoming meetings in those regards. Just to let everyone know, the university has worked very hard to come up with funds for that build, but we're looking at different ways that we can partnership with them. I had a CPMT meeting, and I will be getting information out for everyone. Mainly, it'll tell you how many of our local kids are in foster care, how many CPS notifications and investigations we've made, how our benefits in regards to TANF, foster care, CPS, SNAP, Medicaid. It'll give you an idea of a snapshot of the last 3 months, how the city is faring. So I'll make sure that everyone gets copies of that. And the last thing is, I was notified by the noon Radford Rotary. They wanted me to remind everyone that their Field of Honor in front of Glencoe will be occurring again this year. It honors veterans, first responders, EMTs, police officers, firefighters, teachers, business associates, friends, family members, or anyone who has made a positive impact in your life. The flags are displayed from Memorial Day through Independence Day. And the individual flags run $50. There's different levels of sponsorship going up to $2,500. I'm sure if you wanted to give more, they would not decline those funds. They would probably create a new sponsorship title for you. But I know I've done this for my father, who is a Vietnam veteran, and it really was moving to walk among those flags and read all of the dedications. And so I would really strongly encourage everyone, if there's anyone that you know or love that fits in one of those categories, to reach out. I wanted to let you also know that the proceeds, in case you're wondering where your donation goes, it goes to support Radford High School scholarships at RU, Radford Fairlawn Daily Bread, Glencoe Museum, Elf Shelf, Women's Resource Center, Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust, Sleep in Heavenly Peace, the Wheelchair Foundation, Rotary Efforts to Eradicate Polio, VFW Post 776, and Sunset Park. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kelly, what do you have for us?
I don't have a whole lot. My family and I have suffered the the flu for quite some time, so we're getting over it, and so I'm trying to hunker down and get back on to catch back up on everything. I do want to mention that we are limited with the square feet that we have in the city to build and grow, and we received an email earlier saying, praising the Melissa and Chris Childers and Jay Eanes and Don Green and several other people on how nice it is to work with the city on building houses and dealing with businesses. And I know that that is a good testament to all the hard work that you guys put in, which makes building in our area attractive. And I know Golden Triangle has, built other houses on Rock Road, and they've done a great job, and they did them quickly, and they sold pretty quickly, and so it's only makes sense for them to want to develop another area in Radford. So, we only have a little bit of space, and we need to do the most with it what we can, but to Jones Builders, I think was your name, I really like the fact that you guys had mentioned that you were planning on restoring part of the store and making it kind of fit with the area that you're building in, so I appreciated that. We were supposed to have a joint commission meeting tomorrow. We decided to push that to April. RU, again, is wanting to make sure that they have the right people at the table to hear what the city has to say, to make decisions that are a joint effort that are good for everybody involved. So we're going to be revamping the people on joint commission, so we're excited about that. I think I echoed some of the things that I spoke with the president last time we were here, and they were all very positive and wanting to work together, and the VHL, he mentioned that as well, so that was good. And I don't think I have anything else other than happy St. Patrick's Day. I hope everybody finds a little bit of luck this month and stays healthy.
All right, thank you very much, and I'm glad you're getting better. That's good.
Yes, it's the allergies now. It's getting me now.
I'll try to be pretty brief here. First, I want to reiterate what Kelly and some of our other council members have said. You know, working to develop Radford has been one of our challenges, trying to make sure we have enough homes for the people that need and want to live here. Trying to have a modern housing stock is a real big challenge for our community. And when you please one group, you displease another and vice versa. So that's a constant battle to try to figure out how much do we have that's open space, how much do we have that is developed, and how do we move forward. But we're very appreciative of everybody coming forward. This is a process, and the conversations are part of the process to help us have a better understanding of what's going on, to look at it through different lenses, and for us as a community to make a decision together. So we thank everybody for coming out. I want to go back to Rock Road, to 402 Rock Road. That is really a huge win for this community. Even though it's a small piece, that was a really challenged property. We heard from neighbors for a long time that they felt like this historic store had become somewhat blighted, and it was a real negative for the community, and could the city do something? And so David and his staff and Melissa and everybody worked really hard with property owners to get that property cleaned up, and now to get it turned around and redeveloped into what's going to be beautiful homes is just that's the model that we're hoping to do more with, that we look at redeveloping where we can, trying to make the best version of these neighborhoods that we really can experience, you know, as we move forward, because that's a really important part. And so I say thank you to everybody who works so hard on that, because again, it is never easy, and there are property owners' rights that we have to work with no matter what we do to be able to manage what happens for the city. I did want to mention a couple of new businesses in Radford, and to reiterate David's point, it is a great opportunity to advertise at our sports complexes, at the athletic fields, at the recreation center. Heck, we'd even put up a sponsorship banner down at the skate park if somebody wanted to advertise to the folks that come down there. But that is a great way to let people know what's happening in this community. Amondo's had a soft opening last week, and I think that's still going on, and Jesse and I were able to run down there and say hello. And then New River Blends, which is in the Central Depot building, is reopening under new ownership, and Karen Wofford has reached out and encouraged me and anyone else from council to come on by and check out what they have to offer. It is great to see so many new businesses coming to life here in Radford, have all of our traditional businesses. And even though we talk about this a lot during the holiday season, it is always shop small Radford time. Anytime you can support one of our local businesses, whether it's a meal or a small purchase, that really makes a difference for all of us, because that money stays in our community. That money funds our schools and funds our roads and funds all of our needs with our parks and recreation. And so it makes a giant difference for us as a community. And back to funding, the reason I asked, there's a lot of information out there that may not be 100% accurate. Be sure to ask one of us, ask the city staff. If you are concerned about anything regarding the city, we're here and we're happy to talk with you. We don't want information to be inappropriately misconstrued out there, and we're trying to move forward as a community. We are addressing some of the budgetary issues, and I did want to mention we have a work session. I believe it is next Tuesday, March 19th, that is scheduled. We're going to start at 5:30 or 6? Okay, so we don't know yet, but we will make an announcement. We'll put it out there. We're also going to try to stream these work sessions, but it's more important too, if you're really interested in the nuts and bolts of how we're developing budget, how we're working through some of our financial challenges, and how we're building and sowing seeds for the future, participate. Come out and be a part of it. Ask us questions, and we want to engage you as part of this. This is not done in secrecy. Everything is transparent, and we're all working together to try to find these solutions. So we're very appreciative of that. So be on the lookout. We will post everything we can on the social media and the websites for the city, and then I know all of us do a pretty good job of getting that information out there as well. And there will be a number of those meetings throughout the course of the spring as we develop the budget, as we look at our challenges, we look at our opportunities, and we try to build for the future. Radford is on an upward trajectory. We have our challenges for sure, but this is a place where people want to be. This is a place where they want to live and have their businesses. This is a place that is growing, not shrinking, and it is a place that's moving forward. And we're really proud of this community, and together we can all overcome some of the pitfalls and challenges as we go through. And with that, we will consider a motion to adjourn. We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor say good night. Good night.